Footsteps on a compacted dirt path. A twig snaps under someone's sandal. Somewhere a market call drifts across reed fence. Listen for the close, ordinary sounds, the ones that mark a place as lived in. What stories live at the edge of a field where a stone leans against the grass? What promises are wrapped into a tree's bark with a faded ribbon? Imagine those small things speaking across generations. And let's begin there.
Welcome to Ancient Echoes. I'm Samnang Bradley. Today we take a slow walk, literally and listenfully, around boundary stones, planted trees, and the tiny roadside shrines that tell people where land, memory, and ritual meet. Before we go further, a listening promise. This episode models a consent-first ethic. We're learning to read markers as social texts, not as legal maps, and to treat custodians and their practices with respect. If you're out in the field after listening, please use the same care I'll recommend in detail later.
Let's start with a plain language primer. When you walk in Cambodian rural and peri-urban landscapes, you'll often notice small markers with outsized meaning. First, boundary stones, sometimes little blocks of cement, sometimes old carved stones, often sit low in the earth, half hidden by grass. Next, survey tags, temporary wooden sticks or painted posts used during land measurement. Planted trees, figs, banyans, or fruit trees can mark family plots or seasonal rites. Small shrines or spirit posts at field edges often register promises or acts of protection. And finally, painted posts or simple heaps of stones can mark paths, water rights, or seasonal grazing limits.
A few useful listening cues. People will refer to a stone as the old stone or the boundary rock in English, and they may use kinship terms when describing ownership. Grandfather's line, our side. Listen for words about seasons, flood, harvest, planting, because markers often encode seasonal rites. And listen for names. Witness names and elder narrations are the living metadata that explain what a stone does. These are the stories you should record carefully. Never assume you know the legal status by sight alone.
Now let me take you into 3 field vignettes, short portraits that show how different markers carry different memories. First, imagine an elder, hands weathered, voice steady, kneeling by a low, mossed stone. She traces a chipped corner with a fingernail and begins to name people. A great-grandfather who planted a hedge, a canal that shifted course 23 years ago, a flood that once washed the hedgerow away. In those moments, the stone is a ledger. We remember when the water rose here. This stone marks how we came back.
Second, picture a child up a small tree, looping bright ribbon around a low branch. The ribbon is new, colorful plastic, tied with laughter and a serious carelessness that is also devotion. The child's parent explains, "We tie the tree in the rainy season to show the family keeps harvest rights here. We retie it when a cousin returns." That ribbon is not decoration alone. It is a claim, a season's promise, a way to say, "We tend this land together."
Third portrait, a market surveyor kneeling with a tape measure and wooden pegs, precise and procedural. He places a peg, notes a corner of rice land, records a neighbor's witness name. The temporary peg bridges everyday measurement and communal memory. Later, the peg may be replaced by a more permanent marker, or it may disappear. Yet the surveyor's notes, the witness names, and the village talk keep the line alive. All 3 vignettes show how markers encode flood memory, inheritance, and seasonal rights, without needing a formal title to be meaningful. Let's talk specifically about sacred trees and protective ties. Some trees are more than boundaries. They become living shrines, ribbons and cloths looped into bark, small offerings placed at roots, incense burned on special days. Approach these trees with the same reverence you'd give inside a temple compound. Do not untie cloths, do not remove offerings, and never take anything as a curiosity. If you wish to photograph, ask the custodian first and accept their guidance about angle, timing, or whether a photo is appropriate at all.
Here are concrete protocols to follow at sacred vegetation. Step back and ask permission out loud. Offer a small monetary gift, a can of incense, or another culturally appropriate token if the custodian indicates it's welcome. Never climb or hang from the tree, and defer to local guidance about rituals. If someone insists a site must remain private, accept that boundary immediately. Remember, consent and custodianship matter more than the photograph.
Conflict, repair, and oral proof are vital parts of this story. When boundaries fracture, because water shifts or a hedge dies, communities repair them with witness testimony, names spoken in front of neighbors, and repaired markers. A stone reset, a fresh ribbon tied, a new shrine placed. These acts are social evidence. If you are an outsider, do not act as a mediator or offer legal advice. Your role should be listening, recording with consent, and, if asked, helping preserve oral records without taking a side.
Now, a note about diaspora and transplanted markers. When families move, whether across provinces or across oceans, they often take small markers with them. A stone kept in a trunk, a potted fig tending a new courtyard, a ribbon tied around a houseplant. These are portable memories. Diasporic markers can become anchors of belonging, a way to map home into new landscapes. When documenting these objects, the same consent rules apply. Ask how the object should be represented, whether names should be anonymized, and whether location details ought to be withheld.
This brings us to the practical ethics and the exact language you can use. If you plan to ask permission to photograph or record, use simple, direct phrasing. In English, "May I take a photo of this tree, stone? I will not post the exact location without your permission." For recording someone's story, "May I record what you are telling me about this marker? How would you like your name recorded? Fully, as initials, or left out?" If you're working with Khmer-speaking custodians, please work with a local host or translator for exact phrasing. A straightforward Khmer question you can prepare with a local speaker is, "Knyom aktat rupni bante," pronounced "Knyom aktat robos ni bante," meaning, "May I take this photo?" Always say the English and the local phrasing slowly, and wait for a calm, clear yes.
Here's a short metadata checklist to preserve provenance when you're given permission. Who gave permission, name or initials, who told the story, and their relation to the marker. Place description, village name and a broad area. Avoid GPS unless the custodian permits. Approximate date or season, what the marker is, stone, tree, shrine, and one-sentence context, e.g., marker set after 1997 flood to mark planting rights. If someone asks for anonymity, anonymize, change names to initials, remove exact coordinates, and never publish details that could expose a sensitive land claim.
Some practical field guidance: never enter private land with explicit invitation. Plan visits with a local host or elder. Offer a small gift, food, incense, or a modest payment, rather than arriving empty-handed. Never remove offerings or ribbons from sacred sites, and always ask whether a location should be described generally or withheld from publication. If you plan to submit an image or story to Ancient Echoes for inclusion in our curated map, route it through the show curators. We will vet submissions, ask for proof of permission, and anonymize sensitive details before anything is published.
If you're wondering whether to share, err on the side of privacy. A single image shared without context can expose a family's claim or a sacred practice in ways that cause harm. Instead, consider sharing a modest, permissioned photo that does not show exact geography, an image of a ribbon mid-branch, or a close detail of a carved stone, together with the metadata checklist and the custodian's wishes about attribution. We will curate and anonymize submissions to protect people and places.
Before we close, a few quick do's and don'ts you can keep as pocket guidance. Do: ask before photographing or recording. Offer thanks and a small gift if appropriate. Record witness names and context, anonymized if requested. Don't: step onto a field without invitation. Pull ribbons or move offerings. Presume an object equals legal ownership. Post exact GPS coordinates without express permission. And finally, an invitation. If you hold a modest, permissioned photo or a short note about a marker, stone, tree, shrine, that a custodian has allowed you to share, we invite you to send it to Ancient Echoes for our curated, anonymized map. Please include the metadata checklist items we just covered, confirmation of permission, and any preferences about attribution. We will not publish anything without honoring those wishes.
To close, remember this. Markers are more than property lines. They are memory, kinship, seasonal practice, and sometimes sanctity.
Humble things with care. We are listening to how communities make and remade belonging. Let us keep that listening gentle, consentful, and curious.
Thank you for walking and listening with me today. If this episode helped you learn how to look and ask, and how to keep a story safe, please consider sharing a modest, permissioned photo or short note with Ancient Echoes. We'll curate and anonymize contributions as requested. Let's unlock the echoes of history together.
In the quiet of night, I whispered my plea, holding her close, hoping for her decree. I called upon spirits, asked them to guide, to take her heart and lead her by my side. So I drew her near, traced her brow so fair, my sight is way. Sacred power, Swahai, mighty spirit awakened. By the master's right, let her heart be gently taken. Let her follow me now by vow and by sign. I hear these words, oh teacher, witness this plea. Oh, my sacred power, Swahai.